Welcome to KGXT, Gen X Talks podcast, live from Central California.
Making plans with the boys. I'm gonna hit the town. Yeah, I'm gonna make some noise. I'll push past the pain and my wounded pride. I'm gonna live it up. Yeah.
All right, it looks like we're connected, and we're recording. You want to talk about sliding in sideways? Let's check with staff. Is there anybody on staff listening today? Are we even broadcasting? Because we deleted the butt, and then we reloaded the butt, and I went through all the settings. Do I still sound like I'm in a can? We changed microphones. We changed cords. I think I've got everything set where it goes. I just can't tell. You guys
Trippy's checking in just a second.
Oh, Trippy's going to check in?
Yeah,
okay.
Sounds good today, he said.
Well,
Good sound.
we deleted the butt, which we found out what butt stand for.
What does it stand for?
Stand fors? I didn't say that right.
Stand fors?
It's, you know what it stands for, Mom? Butt, which is how we broadcast.
B-U-T-T, not B-U-T.
No, B-U-T-T, and this is how we simulcast. It says broadcast using this tool. Wow.
You know, they couldn't come up with something better.
That was some dude who was done with his day. He's like, I'm done. I'm not going to. You want me? Yeah, and now that you're done building this app, can you name it? But. All right,
good.
so the numbers are going, everything. Welcome to the Gen X Talks podcast, broadcasting live from KGXT Studios, 200 feet below occupied California. And for those of you that are watching this after it comes out, look it, I have a microphone in my hand because my other shit doesn't work. So, but don't worry, as your trained broadcast professional, I'm perfectly capable of telling my stories with great emotion while holding the microphone. I do not.
You look like an MC now.
What's that?
Like you're emceeing, you're hosting,
You would tell everybody, my husband can't tell a story without his hands. He's got to animate with his hands. He's part Italian. Today, I'm setting aside my inner Italian. I'm not going to tell stories with my hands.
I can't believe it's Thursday already. This is not okay.
Yeah, the barbecue's just in a couple of days, too. So
People are arriving this evening.
Yeah, there's people starting out that are...
One person that I know of.
For sure, taking off work. And then gonna be here Friday and Saturday. A lot of people showing up Saturday. They're more than willing to help us get ready, and then clean up the yard and do some stuff.
Hang out.
And hang out. Yeah.
It's like a pre. It's turning into like a barbecue weekend.
I think so too. It's turning out to like a barbecue weekend for sure. It's not becoming just one event. It's becoming like a 3-day thing for a lot of people.
Hey,
so, yeah.
Why do you put on cologne before we go live on the radio? I mean,
what's wrong with looking my best? I'm not dumb.
It's not smell-o-vision. It's not smell-o-radio.
Is that like Wonka vision?
Yes. What? Does it make you feel good?
I don't know. Yeah, I need to feel pretty inside before I can go on the radio.
So do you feel pretty today?
I feel pretty today. Leave me alone.
We can start?
Well, look at me. Don't I look pretty today? Tell me I'm pretty. Come on.
Let's hold off on that, okay?
All right. Well, anyway, we can begin now.
Okay. I know I didn't sleep really good last night.
Yeah.
But.
Yeah.
But. I'm saying but. What the heck were you doing behind your desk at 3 a.m. this morning? Because.
What do you mean? I wasn't really behind it, but.
I would say you were. But. Okay, first you jumped out of your chair. It was almost like something bit you. You knocked over your chair. Then you started going after your desk. Except you better not tell me something was crawling on it.
Okay, hold on. I first of all, I wasn't even going to bring this up, but let alone on the radio. But I wasn't even going to tell you about it.
This is us.
It
We're
was
live.
okay. I'm sitting there. And I couldn't sleep, so it was 2:30 or 3 in the morning. I'm watching TV at my desk, just sitting there.
Yeah, woke me up.
Me watching TV woke you up? No. I was being quiet.
Getting attacked by something.
I wasn't being attacked. I sat there, and all of a sudden, I heard something on the end of my desk by the wall. And I'm like, holy shit, what is that? So, of course, grab my flashlight, my Streamlight, my $185 Streamlight flashlight that I had from being a mechanic. And I don't see anything. So I go back to watching TV. Then I hear it again. Now I'm pretty sure it's outside the house on the wall. So I open up the slider. I go out on the deck and I look, and there's nothing on the wall. There's nothing over the patio cover. So I'm like, what the fuck, man? I go back in and sit down. Then I hear something from that same spot again Only, you know that little metal tower that I have that has like, they're little shelves, little portable
Yes. Yes.
It moved.
No, it didn't.
It moved.
Did the dogs move?
No.
Well, then there was nothing there.
Your dogs were so asleep. They would have moved. A cat could have walked over your dogs and they wouldn't have moved. When they're asleep like that, your dogs are oblivious to everything.
Not true.
So I hear a noise again. I look, and my little shelf thing that I have sitting there is pretty small. It's like as big as a couple of beer cans, maybe. It's not huge.
No.
But it moved, and I jumped. I jumped out. It moved.
You little girl.
I jumped out of my chair. I didn't mean to knock my chair over, but I just like in the night before Christmas, I sprang to my feet to see what was the matter.
Okay.
And I grabbed my flashlight. And now I know something's back there, and I'm figuring, it's a mouse, or it's got to be something big. It's either a mouse or a snake. There's the only two things it can be that can move that.
Still, the dogs would have gotten up.
Nah, they didn't move.
Okay, continue on.
I can't. My desk is so big. There's no way to move it. I mean, the fucking thing weighs 700 pounds. So I'm throwing stuff. I'm throwing pencils and pens down behind the desk because there's a wall. My desk has a wall on two sides. If I'm under my desk, you can't see the wall of the house because it's enclosed. So the only way I can do is look down behind the desk with a flashlight or figure out what's down there and take a rubber band and pencils like bows and arrows and start flinging shit down there till I kill it.
Oh my goodness.
So I'm throwing stuff down there from both sides, left and right, left and right, left and right, which is where I think you finally saw me. I finally sit back down, and there is the tiniest little mouse, a field mouse. He was not a rat. He was one of those little field mice that we have that crawl inside the house. And he's sitting on the desk staring at me like, dude, why are you throwing stuff at me?
Not true.
True story, yeah. But I couldn't catch him. I tried to catch him. I would have caught him out.
Where'd he
go? I'm assuming he went to behind the desk and went out whatever hole he got in.
Oh my God.
I don't know.
We have mice in the house.
We do not have. Okay, now see, we have mice in our house.
You know how much I hate that. We live in agriculture. They're everywhere.
I know. We have a lot of field mice because we're an ag community. It is a tiny, you would not have killed this mouse. That's how cute he was. He's a little tiny mouse. He was
If there's one, there's more.
You say we have mice. That's, okay.
Mices?
Mices, yeah. That's like, I can see if you find one lice in a kid's head, you can say their head is full of lice. That's gross. But you find one little field mouse that wandered his way in.
I highly doubt that.
And now you say, okay, you haven't even heard him or seen him. I find one, and now we have an infestation. You blow things out of proportion.
If there's one, there's more. He called his buddies and went, come on over.
No, he went back and said, there is a huge warrior.
Brother.
There's a huge warrior human
that's exactly
who
what he
attacks
said.
with these objects. Don't go in that room is what he told everybody.
No, he pretty much went back and went, there's this big thing in this room, and it runs and throws chairs and stuff, and it's totally afraid of us.
Well, I will set the rat traps to catch the little field mouse that is just going about his business, trying to forage for food for his family, and you want to kill him and get him out of the house.
Yeah,
wow.
Well, did we tell the story about the ones in the garage? Which the garage, that's okay because we have that little opening underneath.
Yeah, they can get into
those are rats.
Those are rats. We've never had rats in our house, and we've had a field mice problem off and on for 20 years, only because they crawl up the stucco and they get into the little vents. And so I've put mesh over all the vents, even the dryer vent.
That stopped it. Yeah.
I did really good with that. But I'm sure they can still find it. We haven't had mice in.
Yeah, it's been
forever,
a long time.
But this little guy was a mouse. Now, in the garage...
That was last week, right? We did the...
Well, in the garage, we've had mice getting into the dog food... Or rats.
Rats.
They are rats. They're fucking big as a cat.
They ate through the plastic trash can.
Well, that was the funny part, is Briggs, in one of his lazy moments, he goes, oh, there's no rat traps, Dad. I go, please go find the rat traps in the garage and set the rat traps for Mom. She wants these rats caught. So he goes out, looks for like 8 seconds. Yeah, there's no more. We have to get more. So we get more traps. I go, now could you go set them? He buys 5 and sets 2. And I'm like, come on, man. Then he tells me he doesn't know how to set them.
Those were interesting ones. Did you see those?
Yeah, but I know you can figure it out in 3 seconds. It's not complicated.
Okay, well, go on.
So anyway, he doesn't do anything effective. He does his usual half-ass job. But then you came in pissed at me the other day, and you said, all right, I'm done talking about these rats.
Yeah.
I'm like, I'm thinking I'm going to have to go, okay, honey, I'll go set the traps. And you're like, They ate through the trash can. Now, this is the part that confuses me.
What is that, like a 32-gallon trash can, 40-gallon trash can?
It's a 40-gallon.
And the most hilarious thing is they chewed through the top. They crawled up it, or
Yeah.
they had to have crawled up.
This is where I just said, this is the part that confuses me.
Yes.
They did. I figured when you told me they chewed through the plastic trash can, it was at the bottom.
No.
They dug a hole through the bottom of the trash can and got in and ate the dog food. So I go out there, and there are 4 big rats inside
the
the bottom of the trash can. They ate all the dog food, and they can't get out.
No.
And then I looked, and the hole was in the side of the trash can,
Right under the lid.
Yeah, right under the lid. It was at the top.
So either they climbed up and got on top of it and put their head under and chewed through.
No, they were on something. That trash can was up against the shelf, I think. It had to have been.
I don't know. It was a perfect hole.
Perfect hole, yeah. Like they used one of my hole saws to go through it.
I know. When I opened it, there's like, 4 of them in there? There were 4, and I'm like, now what do I do?
And they jumped to get out. They can get close to the top, but they couldn't get to the edge.
But I was thinking, what do I do? Throw 4 traps in there? Like,
Yeah,
how do I kill these
That's
or
a
get
tough
rid
one.
of
What do
them?
you do with 4 rats that you...
That's when I came to you. I was like, I don't know what to do about this.
Well, I like this because you got all the rats at once.
That's right.
You know?
I got all 4 in one shot.
I also think they got into my power tools because that hole that they cut in the side of the trash can was so perfectly round. I mean, unless one of those rats was a craftsman and the other guys are like, Joey, let's go. Wait till I'm finished with this hole. I need to put the finishing edges on it to make it perfectly round. Joey, we're rats.
No sharp edges.
No sharp edges. Yeah. I think what they did was one of them said, look, the dude's got power tools and he's got a hole saw. Just drill a hole in the side with it. It'll be perfect and we can move on.
What it looked like. We need to take a picture of that because I still have the trash can.
The trash can, yeah. So I didn't know what to do either. I'm like, okay, do I take a shovel and behead them?
Ew.
I know. Then I got to clean them up, and this is the trash can we use for dog food. I was like, I figured out what to do.
Yeah, this one I shook my head.
I just took it to the end of the street, to the block wall, and tossed it over into to the street behind us, which is there's no houses on it. It's just traffic. And threw it out there. They'd have a long fucking walk to get back to where we were. They couldn't climb those walls.
And you don't think they're going to?
No.
Oh.
Well, how could they go through? Okay, so they're going to walk all the way around the neighborhood and then through all the neighborhood streets to get to our house.
How about up the wall and around the other side?
They can't go up the wall. No way.
Why can't they?
Because you can't climb that wall. It's got
They climbed a trash can.
They did not. See,
I've seen them on top of the wall. I've seen rats on top of the wall. The dogs have chased them on the wall.
No, those are possums.
No, they're not. They're rats. And guess what else? You threw them over on the side where I had some gardening stuff. You don't know this. You have no idea.
What gardening
I saw this.
stuff?
I have like potting mix, and then I have a whole bag of oats that I want to plant as a cover crop, right?
Right.
Oh, one morning I opened up the window, the blinds on that side, and there's a rat that had dug a hole and it's eating the oats.
What does that have to do with what I just did?
Because maybe your rats came back and they found something closer.
Okay, well, you didn't say, after you threw them over the wall, here's what I found. This could have happened a month ago.
No, it just happened. And then Briggs told me that he saw a rat back there.
Well, guess what? They didn't get in the garage.
And guess what else is happening?
Here we go.
I've seen on the side of the house where the pool equipment is, the little shed right there with all the pool equipment?
Right.
It keeps opening. And it keeps opening, and I put it back, everything in there, and it keeps opening. I'm like, the dogs can't get over there because it's a closed thing. I go look over there, and all the oats are in there, so the rats are getting into the pool thing.
Okay, you know what? Unless you can prove these are the same rats, those are different rats, okay? These are just other ones that are already on the property, and I've disposed of 4, and now maybe there's some other ones that are still here.
We need the Pied Piper.
Oh, my God. You ruining my God. Okay, so anyway, it was a mouse. It wasn't a rat, it was a mouse.
But now it's around the house, and it's just like...
Have you heard it or seen it since then? No.
I don't know. That was just 3 o'clock this morning. Give it some time.
All right. Well,
you know what? I'm not afraid of mice.
No.
That doesn't bother me. What bothers me is how they pop up and they jump, how they're fast.
Yeah.
That's what like scares me or makes me jump. I don't care. If I could catch it, I would catch it. I don't really care.
You know what comes to mind when we're talking about mice? When I set those traps in our room like 12 years ago, and you tell that our son Briggs is a true video gamer. He's a gamer.
Yeah.
He comes in and I said, hey, I think I got a rat, or it was a mouse, a field mouse. I think I got a mouse. And he goes, oh yeah, you got it. It's all behind your dresser, Dad. You got it. And then I moved the door, and there was one behind the door, and it caught one. He goes, Dad, you caught one behind the door too. Nice job, Dad. Double kill.
Oh my goodness. Speaking of animals, you know what? Do you still have that video when we got the cat in the garage with him?
Yes, I do.
You should totally,
post
without
that.
him knowing, without Briggs knowing, you should post that because that is the most hilarious video ever.
He had to be like 9 years old.
You
and he
sent him on a mission.
I sent him out in the garage.
Something's moving. You didn't.
No, I didn't tell him.
Yeah.
So he creeps out in the garage. The security camera gets him. He creeps out in the garage like 2 steps.
Oh
He's
my
holding
gosh.
the door open, and this cat was sitting there on the ground under something in front of him, watching him. He took one more step, and the cat
Bolted.
But the cat was on the garage floor is a little bit slick.
Yeah.
So the cat's like doing the
Whoa,
Fred
whoa, whoa,
Flintstone. Yeah. And he screams. He goes, ah! And he runs back in the house, slamming the doors.
It's awesome. We got the security camera that shows it.
Our mighty hunter of a son.
It was hilarious.
Fucking
That was
idiot
so
kid.
funny. I think you should find that and post it.
I've got it. I've got it.
I think that
somewhere.
would be funny. So,
Yeah.
this last week, I told the kid to post about Mary Poppins, the Disney movie Mary Poppins.
Yeah.
It celebrated 60 years. 60 years.
Wow.
And he posted it. And I was thinking about it going, that's one of my favorite movies ever.
How did it go over with people?
It was mixed reviews. Like, they're just seeing it as Disney, as a product of Disney. But I think if you go back 60 years when it came out, I mean, it stands the test of time. When,
I know, but that
when
just
Disney
means-
was Disney.
Right, but that just means that they're looking at a movie from 60 years ago and going, "Oh, fuck that woke Disney shit." It's like, okay, but back then
It wasn't.
It was Walt Disney.
Right.
And back then it was a whole different group of people, and I like Disney back then. I
would still watch Mary Poppins till this day.
People are just
Absolutely.
stupid.
And the other thing I was thinking was that the 2 stars, Julie Andrews and Dick Van Dyke, are still alive.
yeah, and they're absolutely that was the why did they pick Dick Van Dyke to have an English accent?
I don't know.
It just sounded horrible. It sounded like he had a mental deficiency with the way he talked because
I loved him
he could
in
not
that.
pull off an English accent
doesn't
at
matter.
all. It does matter.
No, it doesn't.
I want to
neat.
find out who the casting person was. Who cast him?
They're probably gone.
Yeah, good. They need to be gone.
But those 2 I thought was very cool that they are still alive and seeing this movie that's, 60 years.
I saw an interview with Dick Van Dyke the other day, and he said, this is like recent from like a week ago, and they said, so are you done? He goes, nope. He goes, if someone comes up with a role or something or a few lines in a movie, he goes, I'll do it.
I know he's like 99. He walks with a cane. I mean, I've seen videos of him too that he looks just
What a great life he's had.
absolutely
Yeah.
incredible. So another thing that happened,
Yeah.
the kid's been posting all kinds of stuff. Did you see one of the ones? I thought you would laugh when he said the one about what was it?
I don't know. What, he post like 90? Give me a clue. He posted 90
Well, I
different
thought
posts.
you'd like it because it
Well,
was
tell me
mechanic.
what it was, and I'll tell you if I like it. But I don't remember which one it was.
I forgot. WD40.
Oh, yeah.
It was the WD-40 cologne. Now to be specific.
I know. Okay, I know why you're bringing that up. You're a jerk because that story I told you like 25 years ago.
Go ahead, tell it. I asked if you'd wear it.
Yeah.
Would you wear WD-40 cologne?
Sweetheart, I don't need to anymore. That'll tie into the story. Ready? I don't need to wear WD. Okay, so long.
You want me to tell my story first?
Yeah, tell your story first of WD. Well, no, I'll tell mine first. Okay, since
Okay.
you brought it up.
All right, go ahead.
Allegedly.
Allegedly.
If never cheat on your girlfriend, never cheat on
you
your
don't
wife.
endorse.
I do not endorse.
You do not
I
endorse.
do not endorse
cheating.
that lifestyle or activity. However, if you are a man working in a field like mechanics or plumbing or anything electrical like that, and you have engaged in some activities your wife would not
fornication.
I wasn't going to say that. I wasn't going to say fornication. And
Sexual misconduct.
Hello. I'm just keeping this G-rated. What the hell?
When did we put a G rating on our podcast?
I didn't. I was this particular story.
Oh, I'm just making it bad for you. I'm just going. Keep going.
I was going to tell the story. Well, if you ever have a lunch date at McDonald's with a girl that you're not supposed to be seeing, and
Lunch date.
your version is like, if you're ever bumping uglies where you're not supposed to be.
There we go. Get raw. Go ahead.
If you take WD-40 and spray it all over yourself, you go home not smelling like another woman's perfume. You go home smelling like work because it'll cover up any perfume smell.
How would you know that?
I have been a mechanic for a long time, and with my Bible, I have counseled other mechanics
Oh, you have.
who were straying away, and I picked up some of those pieces of information.
So you got it from them. They told you that they didn't put enough WD-40
yeah, they
on.
got caught for lack of WD-40.
I see. So you were counseling them.
That was in their divorce papers.
I see.
Reason for divorce, lack of WD-40.
Got you.
So that WD-40 will cover up that promiscuous smell.
So are you speaking from experience?
Well, secondhand, I just talk to people.
I bet it was secondhand.
Just talking to.
I bet you there were two hands involved.
Okay.
Hey, how come you're turning red there?
I'm getting angry.
You're turning red.
I'm getting angry.
No, you're not.
This is my red anger face.
Wait till they see the video and they see
I'm
you
gonna
turning red.
crop that out.
You're not.
I'm going to put a yellow smiley face over my face.
Oh, so I caught you.
All right, so let's go to your story. I'm sure it's just as interesting.
Oh, it's not. Absolutely not.
No, your story is kind of dumb if you want to know the truth.
It just makes me go, It's one of those things thinking back, but they were dead serious when they told me. I thought they were
Okay,
screwing
start from
with
the
me.
beginning.
So my dad years ago played on an over 55 traveling softball team.
Yeah.
It's low pitch. And most of these players were made up of ex-minor and major league baseball players back in the day. Anyways, nothing like major names or anything, but they did play on a team here or there. And so I used to, right out of high school, I had played softball my entire career high school, and I'd go and practice when available and shag fly balls with them and stuff like that and bat. Anyways, so they're getting ready, and, it's a big, huge production of them putting on their cleats and all this stuff. And all of a sudden, this can of WD-40 comes out.
Yeah. Now, if you told me this, when you first said the story, I thought, well, in some stupid way, they're probably putting it on their mitts, their gloves.
That's what I thought. I'm thinking, okay, it's like moisturizer for the mitts and everything, conditioner. And I'm thinking, okay, I got to watch this. So I'm watching, and no, they're not touching a bat or a mitt. They're not at all. All of a sudden, they're spraying it on their knees and their elbows, and they're rubbing it in. And I'm like,
well, WD-40 does loosen up stuck objects.
I was like, you guys just didn't do that, right? It wasn't just one guy. It kind of like went down the row.
Right, the whole team.
I'm like, what are you guys doing? They said, we swear by it. It works.
Yeah,
we used it in the minor leagues. And I go, no, it doesn't.
No fucking way. No.
So I told you about it, and I thought they were full of shit with me too. Like they were just because I was young.
Okay, to be fair, you may think that now, but when you first told me that story years ago, you kind of had a little bit of enthusiasm that you were sharing something with me. And I'm like, don't smile when you tell this story.
So Dr. McDreamy, his wife, and us are all in a thread. So I threw it out there to see on a medical opinion what was thought. And Dr. McDreamy goes, no, that wouldn't work.
Okay, he laughed at you and said no. He wasn't just like no. He probably had to pick himself up off the floor and then tell you no.
So I just worded it first like, hey, does WD-40 work on joints? That's all I said before my story. And he said no, and he laughed. Then I told him the story, and then he was like, I've never heard of that before. So he thought about it.
Oh my God, he's being so polite. I swear to Christ, he was like, no fucking way is that possible. He just didn't tell you.
He doesn't talk to me like that.
No, he should talk to you like that.
No, he shouldn't.
I can't believe your dad, who you hold in such high regard, actually rubbed WD-40 on his knees and thought it loosened up the joints of his knees like
I
it
thought
loosens
it was
up a bolt
hilarious.
on a
So
car.
that's my WD-40. But my dad swore by WD-40 on everything, like
Yeah.
in the house. Creaky doors, WD-40.
Yeah. Well, there's two things your dad had abundance of in his garage. One was if something is stuck and it's supposed to be moving,
Yes.
get WD-40.
Absolutely.
If something is moving and it's not supposed to be, your dad had a roll of duct tape for it.
Yes, he did.
He'd hold that
Two
still.
things.
Two things.
Those are your go-to
Those
in
are
the
his
garage.
first things to get things moving, and then he can worry about fixing it later.
Absolutely.
So let's just say your dad's WD-40 story has been debunked by one of the premier
I'm calling
scientific
Mythbusters.
medical educators of our time.
I'm calling Mythbusters. It's probably toxic. Well, I wonder what's in it. Water displacement.
Well, that was the thing that the kid asked in the post. He says, "Do you guys know what WD stands for?" Now everybody, of course, goes and looks it up, but there's a few people.
Oh, my dad told me what that was years ago.
Water displacement.
Number 40. Test number 40.
You see,
I'm not supposed to know that stuff?
No, this pisses me off because I told you that. Now, even if your dad had told you that,
Oh, God.
you had long forgotten. I come up to you like 10 years ago and I'm like, "Hey, do you know what the WD?" And you're like, "No."
Here we go.
So I tell you water displacement. Now you remember and you give him the credit.
Okay.
I am
It's
the
time
ro-
to stroke the ego.
Listen,
Hold
I
on,
am the
hold on,
Rodney
hold on.
Dangerfield in this marriage.
Time to stroke your ego.
Yeah,
Honey,
yeah.
I so appreciate you 10 years ago talking to me about WD-40 and reminding me what it stands for. I don't know where I'd be in this world without you. Like, that was really important for me to know. And till this day, I remember exactly what you told me and where we were when you told me. And I love you with all my heart, and I appreciate you.
Okay, I know you're fucking lying now. You have that bullshit face. I don't know how you got through that without laughing. You were holding it in because it was close.
That was good, huh?
Yeah, okay. Thank you.
We can fake it.
Thank you for that. And remember, don't ever quit being married to me or you will lose access to all of that cool information.
Okay.
All right.
Isn't that what Google's for?
What's that?
Isn't that what Google's for?
You need to be married. You don't need Google. You need me.
Okay.
You don't need YouTube videos. You need me.
All right.
All right.
So-
you know, before we move on from your dad and WD-40, I wonder if your brother does that.
Does what?
WD-40 on his knees.
I don't
Or
know.
his elbows.
He probably doesn't even know the story.
He's probably smart enough to know it doesn't work.
I don't know.
We're going to have to ask him.
He
All
is
right.
getting a little up there.
We're going to have to ask the Sun Valley Fox if that's true. And if he lies, his wife, St. Donna, she'll tell me the truth.
Or all of a sudden he'd go, "Oh my God, that's such a great idea. Didn't even think about that." He might start doing it. You never know.
All right. So you sleeping better now, princess?
We're not discussing that. Let's move on. So,
What? I know you had a rough night last night. Your pain medication thing is not for your
it's
lower
not
back.
that. It's that new medicine that Dr. McDreamy gave me.
Makes you like anxious and awake.
Yeah, it gives me like the heebie-jeebies. I don't know how to explain it. Like anxious, just restless. I guess would be a word is restless.
Well, you got into a good routine about 2 weeks ago.
I was
and-
right before the medicine change.
Yeah, and this routine that you got in was working every night. And then all of a sudden, you did something to fuck up the routine, and you were frustrated, and you lost your eye patch, your eye thing. Tell everybody what that even is that covers your eyes at night. You lost one or something, or you lost a part of it.
Oh, okay. So I have an eye mask that I wear at night because this one over here likes to sleep with the TV on. I can't. So that's how we start this.
Yeah, that wasn't where I was
Just so
going.
you know, that's how we're gonna
good.
start this.
Kick me in the nuts.
I have to say why I wear
and
it.
then tell the story. That's a good way to start. Always kick me in the nuts. Go.
Did it work? Are they
I'm
hurting?
feeling it. Oh, yeah.
Okay,
Yeah, you
good.
threw me under the bus
let
in
me
front of my
continue.
friends.
So I bought this eye mask, but the eye portion of it, they come off. They're Velcro, which I thought was kind of cool because you could throw them in the wash machine and yada, yada, yada. So this one time I took them off, and I usually put the Velcro and push them together so they go through the wash machine. Now, I should be putting it in like a little mesh bag and throwing it in there, but I don't. I just throw it in with my towels or whatever and wash it, or clothes. And I lost one. they got separated. So what I say to you, I go, well, I have one part of my eye mask. If you come across, I checked
and you checked
T-shirts,
everywhere.
I checked sweatpants, anything that it would
days
connect.
and days go by, and you won't buy another one. You're just frustrated. You're not sleeping well.
Yeah.
And I told her, ladies and gentlemen of the jury, I submit this as evidence. I informed the plaintiff that she needed to go through every shirt she had hung up and go through all the sweats and everything because it's probably stuck somewhere in one. And if you don't do it now, that shirt may get pushed to the back and not get used for months.
I concur. I agree. Completely agree.
So you did what I said and you found it, huh?
I did what you said and I bought 2 more eye masks.
Yeah, that's not where I was going.
But you said if I was smart, I would have bought 2. So I bought 2 more.
I didn't say
with not removable things with eye sockets.
I didn't say go through all the shirts and buy new ones.
I did
I would have just told you to buy the new ones. I said
did.
Go through the shirts and find it.
I didn't do that.
No, you did.
But I went and spent money and bought 2 more eye masks with don't have removable covers on them.
Right after you bought, like 2 days afterwards.
Oh yeah.
I went to put on one of my Gen X Talk shirts, and I put my arm through the sleeve, and out comes the right onto the floor. Came your little eye patch thing. I found it. And it was right where I told you it was in one of the shirts that had gotten pushed to the back. But we did get it.
You run through your shirts. I knew eventually you'd get there someday. I mean, you go through shirts like they're water.
I know.
So.
You can wear 3 shirts a day every day.
I wash more of your clothes than mine.
Well, I always have to have a different look, a different persona.
You're like a teenage girl.
My morning general is not the same as my afternoon general.
No, it's not. I agree. But you're worse than a teenage girl changing outfits.
I got to
swear
tell you
to
something
God.
too. So on staff, Disney Kid.
Yeah.
He's known as Chris Yerger over on Facebook and Disney Kid on YouTube. He's the newest staff member. All right, he's a little quirky. Okay, I love the guy.
Okay,
he's a little quirky, but you were talking about Mary Poppins on here, and he wrote, and I'm just paraphrasing his paragraph on there real quick in the staff thread.
Yeah,
I just looked down, and he played Mary Poppins.
Excuse me?
In a play. Yeah, that's what it looked like. Now,
I want to see. I don't believe it till I see a picture.
Oh, he's quirky. He's probably proudly will show you the pictures, but I didn't read the whole thing. It just says, I played Mary Poppins. I love Mary Poppins. I was Mary Poppins.
They bought me my Mary Poppins hat.
They did.
That I have here in studio.
They got your Mary Poppins hat. So that is probably an actual hat from his play. He probably wore that.
Oh, possibly. I didn't get that information.
So, hey, you know what? Around here at Gen X Talks, it's kind of the old Bill Clinton military way. Don't ask, don't tell.
But I don't believe it till I see pictures.
Well, but, I think he could pull it off. He'd be a wonderful Mary Poppins, a Disney kid. Go look him up, genxtalks.com. Go to the staff page. You can look at a picture of him. He's not wearing the Mary Poppins.
He also has an email address if you want to.
If you want to give him some shit about being Mary Poppins. Anyway, all right. It's far too much time spent on Disney kid. Chris, we're going to move on.
So this last week, we got pulled into a video by our daughter.
Yeah.
I think I got ambushed this was last week.
I don't know if you did or I did.
I did first because I was just cleaning. I was eating an orange.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden
she asked you though.
But I didn't know I was on camera till I turned around.
Well, I know, but and she edited down pretty good with Briggs, but that really got mixed reviews. For those of you who don't know, I'll tell you what it was, is that she asked my wife questions about all the men she dated. Was dad the most handsome? Yes or no? Or,
yeah.
Was dad the richest guy you dated? Stuff like that.
Questions.
Was dad the best single kiss you've ever had in your life? And, I guess it was supposed to ambush me and embarrass me. I didn't give a shit. But the reviews on Facebook, bunch of crybabies.
Regarding what?
Well, first they said that, first they blamed her. They're like, we don't like you.
Oh.
Get your brother back. And what they don't understand, stuff like that, I gloss right over it.
There's always a few people.
I've been a dad. I've been a dad a long time. I get some of that stuff, so I don't care. I really don't. However, what they don't know when they make comments like that is how Briggs would feel. Briggs would say, don't fuck with my sister on this shit. Like one of them said, your sister looks like she's built to be a linebacker. She's got shoulders, and was making fun of the way she looked. Briggs wouldn't agree. He wouldn't be, a little kid and go, yeah, that's my dumb sister. No. Excuse me. He'd be pissed. So there was a little bit of that, like, we don't like you. We don't want you around. And then the other ones were, it was very disrespectful to put your parents in that position.
Why?
I don't know. Because there's, I guess, somebody on Facebook who thought that's very disrespectful to put your parents in that position. They obviously don't know both of us.
No, No.
They don't know how we are, or
And
they
if
should.
if you in a relationship don't know, like, you can't agree with everything just
No.
because you're married.
Right.
You did have a life prior to being married.
Right. So it was fine. I didn't care at all. In fact,
I didn't care either.
Here's the rub on it. Everyone was, when they saw the short video was, there's the questions, and then there's a longer
okay.
video with all the answers, because she couldn't fit it all. It was like a 3-minute video.
Okay.
So they were complaining, oh, it's clickbait. I'm not clicking. Well, then don't fucking click. Don't do it. I don't fucking care. But Briggs was saying, well, the reviews were very mixed. Both Facebook pages were just a bunch of crybabies. Instagram was strong. YouTube was exceedingly strong. Good on our thoughts.
I think YouTube knows us.
I think
knows our
they
family
do too.
better than any other channel.
I would agree with that.
Or platform.
So, but I will tell you, sprinkled in amongst all the approval,
Yeah.
they are really waiting for her to do that with me about you.
I think it'd be great.
So-
See, I'm not offended or upset. I think
yeah.
it'll be hilarious.
I don't care.
But the funny thing is that you probably knew every single answer anyways.
I did. When she asked those things, like
It's not like I was telling you a secret.
We've known each other since we were 5. And even the times that we were apart, we got all caught up. We absolutely know everything about each other.
I think people were like, how dare she say that? Like,
when she asked the question, she goes, was Dad the richest guy you've ever dated? And you said no. In my head, I knew who was. I knew who the guy was.
Yeah, we've shared everything.
I don't even care. But it was a mixed.
Or what about the best kiss?
I hate that story. You don't do this anymore. When we were younger, and you were mad at me about something, then you'd pretend to calm down, and then we just casually, I feel so close to you, like I could tell you anything. Then you tell me that story about that one perfect kiss at some red light in a Mercedes in Burbank, and I'm like, why do I gotta hear this fucking story? And then I go, because she's pissed, because she's.
Exactly.
So yeah,
just put that knife in and twist it.
You do it. You don't do that anymore like that. But you used to. When we were younger, you just calmly wait, let everything calm down, and then
remember that first kiss? No, not first kiss. Best kiss.
Best kiss. I'm like, yeah, thanks for that. I needed to know that. So anyway,
Good times.
Well, they were mad.
Give me a moment.
Do you need a moment right now? Fuck you and that guy. So there was a bunch of them. Oh, there was a few that were mad at you.
What'd I do?
They said you should have had the maturity to stop it. When she started asking those questions, you should have had the maturity to stop her. Okay, whatever. I disagree with that completely.
I completely disagree.
I don't care.
We've never stopped our kids from asking questions ever.
Nope.
Why would we start now?
No,
and she's a full-on adult.
And she's trying to do something for the kids' channel. She's trying to help with content. Now, even if you thought it was misplaced, so what? Leave her alone. Why are you picking? Facebook was pretty harsh all the way around. Instagram was good, and YouTube was even better. So, and the comments now here's the other thing. Anybody who bothered to click the link to go see the longer version, nobody complained that I saw. Because Briggs had me go look when he was at work.
Were they not liking the questions she was asking?
They didn't like that. You shouldn't do that. You shouldn't be asking that. You really put your father on the spot. You made him look bad. Yeah, it didn't make me look bad at all.
Did you feel bad?
Yeah, who married you? Then I win.
Who won?
Who won?
That's how they should have saw it.
Anyway, so
Oh my gosh.
yeah, that's that was a video. It kind of went that way, but it's all right.
I was being honest.
It was fine. I'm just telling you that Facebook was dumb.
You know
Everybody
what?
else was
They
good.
can bite my purple Twinkie.
See, they would be offended by that. Those same people would be offended by that. You can't say that.
Are you going to edit that out?
No.
Oh, okay, good.
What I edit that out for? It's our fucking podcast. You don't like it, get the fuck out
I
of
was
here.
just wondering. Did you tell everyone that you got an update from Mrs. Four? But you got to tell them who Mrs. Four is first.
Mrs. Four, it was on staff here. She was a little bit older than me. She'd had a few more trips around the sun than I have. She was on staff for a long time. She was part of Gen X Talk for 3 years.
Totally love the kid.
Oh, loves the kid, loved the channel. Then she became a person on staff. And it was someone that I told you this before, after my mother-in-law passed away, I used her for counseling quite often.
She was
And she passed
amazing.
away
Yes.
a month ago. And I already told you, stupidly, every now and then I text her phone. I know she's not going to get it. And I text her phone. And then one time her son's surprised me and replied. Well,
You didn't know that at
I
the
didn't know
time.
that at the time, yeah. But then they did it again the other day, and they don't do very often, but once in a while, I guess they open up her phone and read through the messages, and there I am going, hey, I really miss you today. I wish I could have talked to you today. But they've always been very kind in a response.
Yeah, but tell them about this. So Mrs. Four was at every single live stream. She participated.
She never missed
knew
anything.
everybody's life, good, bad,
Well,
ugly.
yeah, she
engaged with everybody, and she was such a private person that neither did we know exactly how life was for her.
No.
She always skirted the issue whenever you asked. You notice? But we called her the bookkeeper because that woman, I swear, had a notebook and kept notes on everything that was going on.
That was one of the reasons we had on our live streams, we had such a long intro, was because as people
Yes.
join the live stream, as they join the comment section, and as the comments go by and she says, oh, everybody says, hey, good evening, how are you? She knew everybody in there. How's your son? How's your job? Did you buy that car? Did escrow close on your house? Sorry about your divorce. She knew everybody's
She knew
life.
everything. The other funny thing is if she didn't recognize a name of a member, she'd text my phone and go, could you please tell me who this was?
Yeah.
Like if they changed their name and she didn't know, she would text me on the side and then she'd go back.
And she always said hello to everybody.
Everybody. It was
Yeah.
amazing. This was on YouTube. She was our YouTube moderator. So she knew everything that was going on YouTube. And she did touch a little bit on Discord too.
Yeah.
But what I was going at is that her sons and husband did not participate in the Gen X talks. That
No.
was kind of her little
They
thing.
knew she was very involved, but they
Yes.
didn't really know much about us.
Then guess what? After she passes away, then they watched a live stream.
Well, they happened to watch the live stream that I dedicated to her where I talked about her, and they were very moved.
Yes, they had no idea what kind of family the
No.
Gen X Talks family has become over the years. And they were completely moved by it. I couldn't believe it. So Mrs. Four had this little thing that she did with us in live streams. I wanted to let people know that are part of our YouTube family that she was pretty special, that she did care about each and every one of you, and just she thought about you all the time. I mean, just an amazing, amazing lady. That's what I wanted to say.
Our Streamlabs quit recording.
No, it didn't.
Yeah. Now our audio's going. I'm still recording on the pod track. We're going to have the audio, but
How rude.
I think the video, we lost 10 minutes. I'm going to have to really edit that and just put up an image of us and then dub it
right.
over. That's weird.
All right.
I'm keeping watching though.
All right. Well, I have a question for you.
Yes.
I was in the library this morning.
You were in the
The
library.
library,
Okay.
in air quotes.
Yeah.
Are you ever too old to get a tattoo?
No. Well, yeah, I mean, if you're really old and your skin is like saggy and wrinkly, it may be really hard to do a tattoo. Like, I mean, if you're going to get a tattoo of a heart on your boob and you're like 85, wouldn't they have to put your boob on a stretcher board or something and put, paper clips on or something to hold it flat?
Well, I've been
stretch out your boob.
Yeah,
And then how
no,
would it
it's
look
not
when-
going there.
Then, okay, well, wherever.
I've been thinking about getting another one.
But-
And the reason I haven't got it sooner was when I was teaching, I couldn't have any tattoo showing. I would have had to put like a Band-Aid. It wasn't
Yeah.
allowed. So I just never did it. I know that's a whole nother story.
Your
but
tattoos aren't where anybody's going to see them anyway.
Exactly. But the one I want to get would have been or is out in the open.
Well, what are you thinking I'm getting?
I'm thinking of getting one. I've always said I want to do it for my cancer survival thing. And it was like a heartbeat. It's like one little, it's just a line. It's very
Right.
tiny. I wanted it on the inside of my wrist, but it's a,
Oh, yeah, I know what you
you know,
mean.
the
You've been-
heartbeat
you've been
with
talking about that.
with the date or something on it.
Right.
I've been really thinking about doing that. It shouldn't take very long to do, but I
No.
want to do it on the inside of my wrist. But
So while we're on the topic of you and your tattoos,
yes.
tell the story on your first tattoo, where you had it placed and why you did it. Because it sounded like it was a little bit of a rebellious thing, like I'm just going to fucking do it because I can.
Oh my God, I was 30 or something. 30.
You were not 30.
My first time?
Your first time, you were not
Yeah.
30.
The butterfly that I got?
No, it was way earlier than 30.
No, I didn't.
All right, what?
It was right after our daughter was born.
And then your mom saw it because you were in your...
Nope, that was the second one. That's when I had Briggs.
And your
Mom never saw the first one.
Oh.
When I was delivering Briggs, you weren't there.
And your gown was open.
My gown was open in the back. They had come to visit. You weren't there.
Yeah.
And I sat up in the room that I was in, and my gown opened, and my tattoo showed. And my mom and sister. My sister gave me the
grumpy,
disappointing stare.
the disappointing older
Like,
sister.
shame on you. And my mom goes, is there something you need to tell me? Like, I just had a baby. Like, I don't know. What are we talking about? Totally forgot.
Yeah.
And mom goes, when did you get that? And I'm thinking, I don't know. I don't know.
We'll see that thing, and it's my name. So,
I know, but we did it like
I know, but
years ago.
But of course, years and years and years and years ago. But the thing was, it was funny is that, the next time she sees me, she's like, so I go, yeah, it's my name. Nobody else's. That's
my mom
name.
was not okay. But do you realize when parents find out things that they're disappointed in, it eventually blows over. They're like, psh, it's minor.
Yeah.
We do it now with our kids, but I knew my mom would blow it over. But I was like, I smiled at my sister going, yeah, bitch, I do have a tattoo. That kind of thing. So, yes.
You got a butterfly on your ass that no one sees.
It's now a moth.
Yeah, it's gotten a little bigger. It's no longer a colorful, tiny, cute butterfly. It looks like a big moth.
Yeah.
Well, that just
kinda
comes
sad.
with age. So I don't know if I'd get it. If I had something to get, I would get it, but I don't know what I would get. I have one tattoo, and it's your nickname on my shoulder, and that's it.
I know, but you wanted that one with the whiskey glass.
For a long
Remember
time,
that? For a really long time.
I was going to get a small tattoo of a Jack Daniel's bottle, half filled,
Right.
and a whiskey shot glass tipped over next to it with a little bit of whiskey dribbling
Pouring out. Yeah,
pouring
you had
out.
it. You had it designed.
I
Somebody
did.
drew it for you. I don't even know what happened.
They actually drew it on me. They inked it. They had it drawn on me.
Oh, that's right.
And then they'd say, this is what it'll look like. And I just never went and did it. I'm surprised I don't have a ton of tattoos, being that hung around with my dad in that motorcycle club. Everybody had tattoos.
Did your dad have tattoos?
Not one.
He never got one?
Never got one.
Not even after Vietnam or
Nope.
during Vietnam or
Nope,
whatever?
Not one ever. And I think that's why I didn't, because he got away with it. Because in the motorcycle clubs, that was a huge thing to get a tattoo for special things that happened in your life. And all of them had tattoos.
A lot of military guys have
A lot of
them,
military,
too.
yeah, and he
what
didn't do any.
What service was he in? Remind me.
He was in the Army and did 2
Okay,
tours
that's
in
right.
Vietnam.
Okay, 2 tours. And not one time.
Nothing.
I'm really shocked at that.
So I was looking back at my life going, there's a lot of times I almost did. So
And then you waited for me.
I waited for you. Yeah, no girls' names ever. So we're good.
Any Marys out there? If something happens to me, he's your guy. Just kidding. Right?
I don't have your name on me, do I? Oh, yeah, I do. Wait.
No, it's Jules.
No, it isn't. I have your name with the jewels
that's
in the
right.
bottom. That's
right.
I can remember what I wrote on my own arm now.
And everybody that's listening just gave away my first name.
Oh, my God. I think everybody knows anyway.
I know. I think they know too. I'm just kidding.
Just like we gave away Dr. McDreamy's name. I mean, there's not a lot of doctors named Bubba. And so, it's just something you never forget once you learn it.
Bubba Zavala.
Bubba.
Sounds good. Bubba Zavala.
Mr. and Mrs. Marcy BubbaDeZavala.com. All right. So, you want to, where are we at?
I don't know. Do I have to talk about the barbecue now? Because
Well-
after this is over, it's a marathon.
I'm not ready for my part of it yet, are you?
Yeah, well, that's your problem.
Wow. I was so nice right there. I'm not ready with my part.
You're having
Are
help
you?
come.
And you're like, yeah, tough shit.
Hey,
You're
you know
being
what?
such a bitch right now. There's no
I am
reason
not being
for
a
that.
bitch. You
kinda
know
are.
what's coming. It's not something that just happened.
Let's try this again.
All right.
I'm not quite ready for my
I'm
part of the
sorry to
barbecue.
hear that.
Are you?
I'm almost ready. I'm really sorry that you're behind.
That's okay. Is
You know
there anything
what?
I
I
can...
have gathered people together to come to your aid starting tomorrow to help you in your time of need.
And is there anything I can do for you, sweetheart, to help you out? Now, you see how much nicer this conversation was?
I just told you I have help coming
Yeah.
for you.
No.
That was
Do you
nice.
have help coming for you? Do you need
No,
help?
they're coming to help you.
Again, do you need any help for you? This is
Yeah,
the
I
fourth
need
time.
you to get your ass out of that chair, and we need to go to Sam's Club
And the being nice is over.
or Costco, whichever one of those.
I will go to Sam's Club with you or Costco as soon as our live stream
Did
is
you
over.
hear that? As soon. That means no editing, no nothing. You're
No.
getting out of the chair, and we're
Yeah.
going to go do this.
I will, I promise.
You promise?
Yeah.
Cross your heart.
Hope to die. Is that
Stick a
okay?
needle in your eye.
I'll go with you.
Okay.
I promise.
I wish Lion was coming. I tried to get him to come.
Well,
Lionheart.
where the fuck did that come from?
Just reminiscing.
Yeah, he doesn't need to be here. If he really cared about you, if he really cared about me, he'd show up, but he didn't. So there. Now you know.
Okay. Well,
Wishful thinking.
Can we try a Sam's Club challenge when we go?
No.
Why not?
I'm not. That was because that was one. I don't even remember why I
haven't
did
done that in a long time. I
haven't
want
hurt
to do
your-
that. I want to do a Sam's Club challenge.
I haven't hurt your feelings in a long time. That was all that
Give
was
you
for.
a minute. Between
was-
here and Sam, come on.
That was all that I. At one time, ladies and gentlemen, long time ago, 15 years ago or whatever, what I do? Oh, I did. I can't remember what I did. I did something I really upset my wife. It was my fault. I had my 3-part apology, which is I think probably when I invented the 3-part apology. And then we went to Sam's Club, and she was still visibly upset. And I said, you know what? I'll buy you anything you want today. I gave 2 rules.
Yeah.
That you couldn't. You had to put it in the cart. It had to fill the cart.
Challenge
You
accepted.
You couldn't have 2 carts. You could have 1. And you couldn't buy something that you buy with a slip of paper. You couldn't be like,
Yeah.
you couldn't bring a slip of paper up front and go, I bought this couch.
I couldn't fill the cart with sheets of
Well,
paper.
right. You couldn't say, okay, I'm filling the cart with every piece of jewelry from the jewelry counter.
Right.
That's not what I meant. It wasn't those 2 things, but
It was time,
Yeah.
and you challenged me, and I grew up playing Tetris.
it was, you absolutely stacked that thing so
Yes.
high, so perfectly, had stuff on the bottom. You were holding it down as you walked to hold the pressure on it.
Absolutely, because you said if
Unbelievable.
it fell out,
Didn't count. Yep,
it didn't
out.
count.
And you did it. We actually had to put them in 2 shopping carts to get them to the truck because it would fall out all over this parking lot.
But
Especially
challenge accepted.
when you go over those bumps. Yeah, you did it. Back then, a big this is I'm going to say 15 years ago. Back then, a full basket was like $250. You spent a lot.
I spent a ton.
You spent over $700.
I did in one shopping
in
spree.
one shopping spree. I was my butthole puckered.
Yes, you
I
did.
was like, oh my God.
Thank God you were working back then.
Yeah, but I did it. I did it for you, and I knew because I had apologized, and I knew that you were always on a leash about quit spending money at Sam's Club and Costco because you just overspend.
But we had to with all the kids. That was our go-to place.
I'm actually surprised you want me to go with you to Sam's Club today.
I haven't completely decided. Depends on when I walk out the door.
I've
because
decided.
if I go with you or you go with me, that means I can't slip in anything for me personally.
Okay, I was going out of love and consideration, but now I'm going to. Isn't it?
No.
You don't say it's a choice you get to make. You don't get to decide.
Yes, I do.
No, you don't.
I want to, if
Not a
I
chance.
slip in under the radar, I can throw in a few
I have a
things.
doctor's prescription in my pocket from Dr. McDream. He says I have to go and get my exercise today. So there.
Yeah, well, I need some shopping therapy.
No, you don't.
I'll get a prescription.
From who?
I'll get a script.
Who's gonna?
Dr. McDreamy will
He's
give
not
it to
gonna
me.
give you one to spend
Oh, he
money.
will write me a script. I
Bullshit.
bet you it shows up on my phone.
Bullshit.
Oh, yeah. He will take a picture of it and it'll get to my
You know
phone.
what? He gave me one for sex one time. Remember that?
So he'll give me one for shopping.
When I was giving a bunch of shit about not having any badonkadonk, and he wrote me a real prescription and
did.
said, "You got to get
so
some."
he'll give me shopping
It's a
therapy.
once a week prescription.
It'll show up.
It won't. He's not even listening today.
He likes me.
He doesn't like you.
Yes, he does.
tolerates. He's my friend, and he tolerates you.
All right.
True story.
Okay, so
Yeah.
I personally need a Jade update because I have not that I haven't been talking to her. I just don't want to discuss the same thing over and over again. But I do have to bring up a couple things.
Okay.
So I was downstairs when she came home one night after work. She comes in like about 8 o'clock or whatever, and you were already upstairs, and I was watching TV, and she dumped on me that she wants to buy a violin
What? Why?
because she just wants to. She's trying to fill a void.
Yeah,
I think.
she's trying to fill a void. She's
I can't remember
grasping
the
at
other thing
straws.
she told me. She said,
Well, she already bought a computer and she's gaming,
yes.
although she won't game with her sister. Her sister in Nebraska desperately wants her to play
Fortnite.
And she keeps going, oh, there's a problem. It won't download. There's an error code. So Briggs has been over here and goes, oh, I can fix that easy. She goes, no, don't, because then I'll have to play with our sister.
So she bought a computer. Now she tells me she wants to buy a violin, and she tried it in elementary school, but now she wants to do this. And I'm like, girlfriend, I wanted to tell her. I didn't. But in my head, I'm like, that money that you're spending on a violin, because they're not cheap, put it toward nursing school.
Yeah, get on with your life. No hobbies right now. Let's get going in life.
This thing of hiding in her room is beginning to really, really upset me.
Well, the truth is, here's your Jade update. I'm not even getting into the relationship side right now.
This is just her personally. This is what we're talking about.
Yeah, two things. One is personally, she is trying to buy hobbies to fill the void in her life, which is a lot of her relationship with her guy. So, and women do that all the time. I've known women and talked to women my entire life, and when they're in a bad marriage, they get a hobby, they start becoming a room mom with their kids, they pour themselves into their kids or their house. It just happens. All right, I get it. That's why she's heading down that road, and she's been doing it. The part that bothers me is her incidents at work. And she will not listen to me. She tells me that I'm full of shit.
I know.
Now, she works for a very big, wonderful company. Everything I've heard has been wonderful. I've never heard anything bad about this company. And they are a big company. And so they have an HR team. They have protocols for everything. They document everything.
They have nurses. Take some water. Hydrate. They have a nurse on staff. They have a medical facility.
Well, that's where I'm going with this one, too. So she keeps getting injured at work. And the first words out of her mouth is, well, I backed into this with my hip. But don't worry, it's on film. They have it on camera. They saw it.
So what?
It's totally legitimate. Okay? And then she says, I hurt my wrist. I tried to catch something that was falling over or something, and I bent my wrist. But it's true. It's true. It's on camera. They saw it. I said, you're just going to be known as the person who has these injuries. Stop doing it.
You're becoming a risk.
You're becoming a risk. And then she's constantly overheating. Because she works in a warehouse that does not have air conditioning, but so does everybody. Big fans. They have
swamp coolers.
Cooler, cold water. They have cold water for you, and they put those little do-rag things on your neck.
They bought those for everybody. Yeah.
So they're the warehouse. Everybody works. They've been doing it for years. It's not like it's a brand new thing. They're getting it, but she's fucking it up. Then I try to tell her, you're going to be known as the person who is always something wrong with her at work. You're always getting hurt. You're always overheating.
And they're documenting everything.
Everything. She won't listen to me. I go, they have a file and they're watching you. She goes, no, they're not. They don't care.
Oh.
Yes, they do.
After the last story she told me.
So then she comes up and she tells me, she goes, well, the weirdest thing happened today. I said, what? She goes, I got something in my eye. Maybe it was just sweat. From working out there, and my eye was burning. An eyelash. Yeah, that was the other one, an eyelash.
This is the story she told me.
So she starts trying to clean out her eye. So she leaves the work area and goes to the bathroom to clean out her eye. And it's not really working. It's red. All right, you can get something in your eye. So she's walking back to go to work from the bathroom, and her eye, of course, is red because she's rubbing it. And one of the supervisors says, what's wrong? She goes, I don't know. I got something in my eye. And she was going back to go to work, and they said, well, you better go to the nurse. Maybe they can flesh it out. So she goes over to the nurse and says, hey, Joe or Bob or whoever said I'm having just something got in my eye. I don't know what it is. So the nurse says, all right, well, let's rinse your eye out and do the thing. Now one of the HR managers happens to go by and sees her in the nurse's area and comes in and goes, what's going on? And they tell the story, and as soon as she's done, they say, you need to document this. She goes, why? I just had something like an eyelash in my eye, or
they wanted a detailed report.
They made her sign
in her
a detailed report. So when she comes home and she tells me this, I go, they are watching you. They're documenting everything you do.
Yes, they are.
And she says, well, they're not going to fire me for being accident prone. I said, I don't know if they can, but they'll find something else to fire you for legitimately. You're never going to know.
They have a file on her.
If they fire you because they know you're an accident risk, they're not going to write that down. We're firing her because she's clumsy. That's a lawsuit. they'll find a legitimate reason to get rid of you, but the real reason will be, and you'll come home and you'll go, Dad, they fired me because I didn't meet my quota or because I wasn't doing my job or blah, blah, blah. And I'm going to say, no, they fired you because you have all these injuries. And you're going to say, no, that's not what it says on the paperwork. I go, it's not going to say that.
Yeah. The
That's
other
stupid.
thing they're doing is they do a weekly or monthly quota, is what you called it.
Yeah.
They have to have a percentage of, she pulls
Parts.
items
Yeah.
off of shelves. So you have to have an accuracy rate and also speed. They want so many items pulled
Yeah, you got to carry
within a certain amount of time.
Right, you have to pull so many per hour, so many per shift, and she works three 12-hour
12.
shifts, and
Or-
so
yeah, three
12-hour shifts, and here, okay, tying the relationship in, her boyfriend works there,
Yes, he does.
and he is like the golden boy of his department.
And
He-
not the same
not the same department, but now he comes over and tells her how to do her job, and she yells at him. And she's like, you don't even work in this area. Why are you over? He goes, because I know how to do this, and you're not doing it the right way. You could do it better if you want it. And she goes, I'll do it my way. Leave me the fuck alone. And she goes to her boss and says, hey, this guy's coming over here telling me to do stuff, and he doesn't belong in this department. And her boss is like, yeah, but he's really good around here, so we're not going to get him in trouble for trying to help you. And she's like, he's not trying to help me. He's interfering with my life.
Which in turn is going to be a bad thing because
her,
if he
yeah.
keeps coming and telling her and trying to reteach her and tell her how to help, they're
Yeah.
noticing this. The other problem is we were talking about the quota. So she's been behind. She's low.
A little bit, yeah.
A little bit.
Yeah.
But enough that they've said something. And instead of saying we're going to write you up or do something, she's kind of in a quote unquote probation
Well,
period.
this is a corrective action.
A corrective, a
Yeah.
positive corrective
That's what they call it.
action.
A positive corrective action. I go,
And
it's-
that's documentation.
I go,
They've
it's still in
started.
your file. I go,
Uh-huh.
how
They've
many-
started.
Why do you have 37 positive corrective actions in your
But she
file?
won't listen to us. Like
No.
we've never been down this road before. But
Yeah. So she tells me I'm full of shit. I don't know what I'm talking about. I'm like, fuck me. What do I know?
Well, just like yesterday or the day before when I was so busy that day running around and doing something, I came out to you and I was like, you know what? You go call your daughter. She's upstairs sleeping. It's like noon. She
Yeah.
can come help.
She
I
won't.
am drowning
I know.
and she
So-
gets to sleep all day.
I
I
know.
was so mad.
It was after 12, and I actually got her out of there, and I said, you get down here and help Mom with some of this. And she goes, well, some of these covers, like the dog peed on. I go, then wash it off. Just put it on the ground, spray it with a hose, get some Dawn dishwashing soap, and scrub it. She goes, can't Briggs just do that? I go, what the fuck? She went back upstairs and fell asleep.
Oh no, she did a few things. Then she goes, I think I'm going to take a break.
That's what I just said. She did that, but she went upstairs, fell asleep for 4 hours, then woke up. Oh, I was just going to take a break, and I fell asleep. I'm like, get the fuck back out here and start doing this. Now, you know, you got Sammy Joe coming over. Mary Mathis is coming over. Some girls coming over to help you do some stuff, and there's some guys coming over to help me out. Our daughter should be leading the charge and outworking everybody helping with this, and she won't be.
No.
She will not at all. She's just going to look like the little petal princess where she sits around. I am not going to be happy with her if she does that.
I am getting up to here with this. It's driving me absolutely
Well, what we
insane.
did with Briggs before he moved out was we said, all right, if you're going to live here, you're going to pay rent, but you're going to be fucking up every day. I want you up at 8 o'clock every day. I don't care. That's what I told him. I made Brigger get up.
Yes,
He had
you
to
did.
start his life. He had to get up and get moving and get going. If he wanted to slouch off all day, it wasn't going to be sleeping all day. And I'm about ready to do the same to her, going, then move out.
I think it's
Then just
time.
move out.
Well, she's given him till January, the boyfriend. Why? I think maybe it needs to go now. Like, go figure it out.
Well,
I feel
after
like
the barbecue, I'm not going to do it before the barbecue,
no.
but
I'm
maybe
just saying.
afterwards.
I think we need. If she's giving ultimatums to him, I think we need to give an ultimatum to her.
Well, at least
I'm
ours
just-
is in the right direction. She absolutely sleeps she doesn't come out of her room.
No.
You know, she didn't even do a good job on the things you told her to do either.
Her one thing that we've asked her to do is to load and reload the dishwasher.
Right.
She hasn't done that. I think she's done it once, maybe once over the last 2 or 3
I just need to
weeks.
put the rules. I need to drop the hammer about the rules and go, this is what you're going to do. If you don't like it, you can move out. If you want to live here, this is what you got to do. And it's nothing. It's like at once a day, do the dishes and make sure you're out of your goddamn room. Get up, get dressed, take a shower, get ready to go, put your shoes and socks on, and then you can sit in your room. But you're going to get up and take that shower first, and you're gonna get up. Got to make her move. That's what it is for me. And maybe I'm wrong on that, but
I don't know.
I'm still going to do it.
So before we end today, do you have a car story by chance?
You know what? We're talking about all this stuff from the shop in Oregon. I have another one from up there. This one, I
love that shop in Oregon.
I was in court over a customer issue with me. Hang on, let me switch gears here. For your
Listening pleasure.
dancing and listening pleasure.
Sit back. It's story time with the General.
Story time. It's mechanics story time with the General on KGXT Radio.
Grab a drink.
I have only been to court with a customer 3 times in like 20 years, and this one, it was a small claims court thing, and it was in Deschutes County. So I go in there, and Deschutes County had small claims. They had like I want to say it wasn't an automotive courtroom. There wasn't that many automotive claims. I'm thinking it was more work related, like if you were suing a mechanic or a plumber or an electrician. It was kind of that side. There was one judge that kind of handled that stuff.
Almost like workers' comp.
But it wasn't
but
a
it wasn't
state.
yeah,
it wasn't the state side. So anyway, I go in there and I'm third on the docket.
You
and
love going to court.
I don't mind going to court.
You love it.
I don't get to go for anything, but this was for work related stuff.
I know, but you like going.
So let me tell you how I got there.
Should have been a lawyer in a previous life.
You can let me talk?
Well, sometime.
You shut your whore mouth. I swear to Christ Almighty, I'll come over there and pop you.
Give me a brick and just bust your.
All right. So let me tell you how I got there. I was working, had like 3 guys working for me at the shop. And this old black guy comes in, probably 60 years old, skinny guy, dressed really nice, had a nice suit on. And he had an older bright yellow Chevy van. And he was a traveling salesman.
Okay.
And we talked and got along good, and his engine was just wore out. And it was popping and missing and backfiring. I said, well, look, dude, you need a new engine. This, we can patch this together, but you need a new engine. He said, can't afford one. I don't know what to do here. And I just need you to patch me together so I can keep driving and making my sales. He was a traveling salesman. He had a bunch of stuff in his van and a company that he repped so he could order things for him. So it ended up being, I said, well, the main thing you need is a timing chain, but you really need an engine. So I even wrote on the work order, customer needs a new engine. I wrote on there, this engine's about to blow up. This engine is no good. Customer requests a timing chain and an oil change.
I was just going to ask you if you covered.
I did. I covered myself. I said, look, man, I'll do it, but you got to sign on the dotted line here.
Yeah.
That, you acknowledge this isn't going to fix it, and it could blow up in a day.
In case something happens.
Right, in case something happened.
Gotcha.
He goes, no, just I really appreciate you doing this. Because no other shop would. Every other shop would say, nope, it's too much of a liability, and move on to other things. So we did the work, and off he went. And he drove from Central Oregon to Arizona. He drove from Arizona back up through Las Vegas and up the 395 up into Reno, and then was coming in the back way to Central Oregon again. And his van broke down. So I don't know how many, 3,000 miles. And he breaks down, and he called the tow truck, and they picked him up, and they towed it to another shop. And the other shop said, your engine's blew up. It's no good. And I get a letter taking me to court. He wanted like $3,000 or something. I'm like, no fucking way. So we go into court, and I'm in the courtroom, and I'm third on the docket. Not even first. And the guy who's up first is another automotive shop. And so I'm listening to the case of the automotive shop, and he says, Your Honor, I got my tires put on by this shop, and the shop owner was there. I knew the guy. I knew the shop. He says, and he didn't put my wheels on correctly, and my wheels fell off. I had my right front wheel fall off. And he says, well, how do you know that the shop made the problem? And he goes, because I drove that car, and I never touched the wheels after they did. I didn't do anything to the wheels. And I was driving down the road like at 45 miles an hour. My tire blew. My car veered off the road, and I hit a pole or something. And he was suing him for a lot of money. And the mechanic, the shop owner, a guy I knew, his turn to talk. He says, Your Honor, He goes, this was 6 months ago.
Wow.
6 months this guy had been driving around, and he was from out of town. 6 months ago, and the guy had like 2,000 miles driven on the car. And he says, Your Honor, you know how this works. You know that if we don't put the wheels on right, if we don't tighten it, you're going to know pretty quick. You're going to know real fast. It's not like they're going to work loose. Either they're on or they're not. And we don't know. The guy says, we don't know what caused him to go off the road. He says the tire fell off. Where's the pictures? Maybe he just blew a tire. Maybe he ran over something and his tire popped and off the side of the road. We have no idea. And it was 6 months and 2,000 miles ago. There's no proof at all other than he's saying so.
Right.
The judge hits the gavel. I find for the plaintiff, the guy had to turn his whole thing into his insurance company for tons of money. And it was bullshit. There's no fucking way you could prove that. The guy just made up a story, comes in. So I'm back there. I'm standing there, and I'm shaking my head, and the judge knows me. And I'm shaking my head. I don't say anything, but I'm like, what a fucking, that's terrible.
Yeah.
Next guy was another automotive one. The guy before me was another automotive claim. Another shop that I knew. I knew the shop owner. And this woman claims that she got a tune-up on her Ford truck. She had like an F-250, a 3/4 ton Ford truck. And she's in there in front of the judge and says, Your Honor, my truck has not run right since that shop tuned it up. They put the wrong spark plugs in, and it's ruining my engine.
Okay.
And the judge says, okay, is that it? She goes, yeah, and I want all my money back. Like, I don't know, $600 or $700 for all the work they did. And so the judge goes to the shop owner and says, what's the deal? He says, well, here's the work order of all the parts and labor I did, and the part numbers on there. She had actually brought the spark plugs. I forgot. She brought the old spark plugs. Okay. And she says, I had another shop put the spark plugs on and it runs better now. And it's all they did was replace the plugs. Those are the wrong ones. These are the right ones. And she goes, and the judge says, well, where's the invoice from the new shop? And she says, well, okay, my brother did it in my driveway, but he took out the old spark plugs. All he did was put in new spark plugs and everything runs perfect. So it's obviously the spark plugs. They obviously put in the wrong ones. So she has the old spark plugs, and the number on the spark plug matches what my friend put on it. It's on the work order. He also brings a book to show the judge, Your Honor, I highlighted it for you. Her year, make, and model and engine, this is the spark plugs. That's what's on the work order, and that's what she's returned to us. Look, that's what they are. He also pulled out his invoice from the parts house. That's what he ordered. That's what was delivered. So it all lines up.
All the documentation.
Everything's perfect. And she says this. She starts to cry. She's like 29 years old. And she goes, I don't know, Your Honor. Driving down the road, I just know driving down the road, his spark plugs were the wrong ones. They had so much electricity in them that as I revved the engine, they were popping the spark plugs off of the spark plugs. I had to stop on the side of the road, put the spark plug wires back on, and then there was so much electricity in those spark plugs that they popped the wire off. And my first thought was, even in her dumb analogy, the spark plug doesn't create the spark and it goes up the wire and pops the wire off because the spark's going up. The spark comes down the wire to the spark plug. So what the fuck is she talking about? It makes no sense at all, even in her made-up fantasy world.
Okay. How'd this one go?
For her. He ruled for the plaintiff.
No, he didn't.
Yep. So now it's my turn. And he said, because he knows me, he goes, oh, good morning. I said, good morning. He says, how you doing today? I said, well, it's not a good day for the automotive industry in your court.
Oh, good way to start.
And he looks at me. I said, the last two things, I said, absolutely, you ruled the wrong way on it.
Oh,
I said,
you did not.
I did. I said, we're going to give you a third try right here.
Oh, God.
He was
mad. That is not the way to start.
I was so pissed. For my friend, they stayed to listen to my deal, too. And they were mumbling, yeah, fuck yeah, So I'm like, all right. So this guy, this old black guy's there. He comes walking into court in his suit, but he has his pant leg rolled up today. Because he had an artificial leg. It was like a Lieutenant Dan Forrest Gump piece of aluminum. He had his pant leg rolled all the way up where everybody could see. Oh. And he hobbles up there.
Are you picking on a disabled person?
I guess I was.
Okay.
So we're standing there and he says, I got my car worked on And I thought I had done things in good faith. I thought I thought I was doing the right thing, Your Honor. And then the next thing you know, my engine blows up and I'm stuck there on the side of the road. And I just, out of curiosity, I pulled the dipstick out and there was no oil in the engine. He had not put any oil in my engine. That's how he started his conversation. And the judge goes, well, what do you have to say? I said, number one, he's full of shit. I said, number one, he's got, and he yelled at me about don't cuss in my courtroom. I got the whole speech, going to get fined. I got you. So, but they always give you a gimme. You get one for free.
Okay.
So I said, well, Your Honor, here's the invoice. I told him his engine was going to blow up. I told him this was going to be a temporary fix at best, and he signed it. Not only did he sign the invoice, he signed the paragraph I wrote that says, don't do this repair, your engine's going to blow up any minute. Sign here, and he did. So he knew this was a possibility. Now, he's telling you that I didn't put any oil in his engine with the oil change, and he drove it. You look at the invoice on where he's at to where he is now. It was almost 3,600 miles. And the guy had said, well, I drove to, judge asked him, where'd you go? Well, I left there and I drove through Northern California and Sacramento, went down to LA and San Diego, and then I went over into Yuma, Arizona, and then I went back up to Las Vegas and then Reno, and then I was almost back here and it blew up. And I said, okay, Your Honor, you're going to tell me there's not an oil leak on that thing, and you're going to tell me that I didn't put oil in the car and he drove it 3,600 miles with no oil in the car. I said, there's no possible way. These other two cases you had before me,
Oh, God.
those weren't possible, and neither is this. It is not even plausible that this happened. And he says, well, you know, if he says he pulled the stick on the side of the road and there was no oil in it, you know, and I said, well, maybe it got a leak. Maybe it leaked out. Maybe a gasket blew. Maybe an oil pan gasket blew. Maybe the oil drain plug, you know, the gasket on that broke. Maybe he hit a rock and it put an oil hole in his oil pan. Maybe that's how come there was no oil in it. He says, well, we don't really know. All we know is there was no oil. And I said, well, that's where you're wrong. And he said, what are you talking? The judge says, what are you talking about? I said, and in Deschutes County at the time, you could call a witness to the stand.
Oh.
So I said, I brought a witness with me. He goes, well, how could you have a witness of him on the side of the road in the middle of nowhere, Oregon? You know, I said, the tow truck driver is one of my friends.
Oh, shoot.
So the tow truck driver was a guy named Steve Shirley, and he picked up the guy and dragged him back here. And he testified that when he got there was oil on the ground, and he decided to, you know, he just, as he's loading up the truck, he pulled the stick. He goes, the engine oil was full. The transmission was empty, like the transmission had leaked out. He goes, but the engine oil was full. I checked it as I put it on my truck. He goes, so the engine blew up. It was still full of oil. The engine's junk, but it was still full of oil. It hadn't even leaked out. So whatever, you know, the transmission had leaked out. It was red. Fluid was red. But he goes, I was there. He goes, there was fluid on the ground. It was transmission fluid. I checked the stick. It was empty. I checked the oil, Your Honor, and it was full. And I towed the guy in. So I go back and I tell the judge, I said, not only did I warn him about this, I begged him not to do it. I did the job correctly. He drove it 3,600 miles. All of a sudden, his engine blows up, which I'm surprised it made it that long. He just came into court and lied and told everybody that he checked the oil and it was empty, not knowing that the tow truck driver that he had contacted was a friend of mine who checked it and is here to testify to that. Let's circle back to that where he signed that he knew this engine could blow up tomorrow.
Right.
I said there is no possible way that he drove 3,600 miles all over these hills and valleys and roads and summers and heat without any oil in his car. It's not possible. It's not possible, and he's lying. And I just kind of raised my eyebrows at the judge like,
Your turn. Move the lever.
That's right. I go, you can't fucking get out of that. There's no possible way you can get out of that. So the judge is going through the paperwork and he's sifting things around there. And I looked over at the old black guy. He's just standing with he's got a hat in his hand.
Is he holding it next to his chest?
With one hand. He had it over his chest with one hand. He's standing with his chin up, very proud. And I'm just sitting there going, let's just get out of here. And he says, sir, do you have anything to add? To the old black guy. And he looks at the judge and says, Your Honor, I don't know much. I'm going to quote what happened here. So listen carefully.
Okay.
He says to the judge, Your Honor, I'm not a mechanic. I don't know what happened. I'm not sure how all of this misfortune came upon me. But I feel I was a visitor in your fair city and that I was wronged by this man.
Oh, wow.
That's kind of what I said. When he got done, I went, oh, my God. I mean, out loud, I said, oh, my God. Are you fucking kidding me? And the judge says, well, I think you were wrong, too. And he ruled for the plaintiff. He ruled for the guy. I go, you're out of your fucking mind. Are you kidding me? He goes, I'm fining you $200 in contempt of court for cussing. I looked over at the guy and the judge, and I said, just so you guys know, I'm never paying. I'm never going to pay the money.
Oh, my
And the guy says, well, the judge just said you had to. I said, there's a big difference between being sued and convicted and I owe the money and actually collecting. You're going to be in court a long time trying to get me to pay. And he looked back at the judge like he wanted the judge to make me write a check right then. And the judge explained, he goes, no, and now it's still a civil matter. Now if he doesn't pay you, you got to go back through the court system and you got to hire an attorney to make him pay.
Oh,
There's quite a bit of, and this is what you learn in business. It's sometimes it's easy to get, a ruling in your favor, but actually collecting the money. You can get a judgment, but collecting the judgment is entirely different.
okay.
I wasn't even upset. I'm like, not fucking paying you anything. Good luck collecting that. You may have won this one, but I'm never going to fucking pay you. Which my two buddies were still there, and for the other guys before me, and they were out in the hall and said, what do you mean? I said, I'm not fucking paying that guy. Now he's going to have to hire an attorney and
Cost
go
him more
after me.
money.
And how many times am I going to drag this out in court before they could actually do something about it? And they said, wow, we're going to do the same thing. I said, well, keep your cash drawer empty. And they said, why? And I don't know if this is true everywhere, but I learned this in Deschutes County. There's something called a till draw that they can get if a judge, if you keep putting off a judgment you owe as a business over and over and over, and you go into court, finally a judge can order the sheriff to go to your cash register and demand you open your cash register. It's called a till draw. Whatever's in your till, you have to open it up and clean it out and give it to the sheriff, and he gives it to the guy. And they can keep doing that until you've paid your judgment in full.
Really?
Now, I've never had a sheriff do that, but I heard from a guy who did, and he goes, it's no big deal. Just keep like $30 in there. So I've always done that, just in case, always. The 3 times I've been to court. Well, 2 times I paid, 1 time. So this guy, I did that with this guy. I didn't have any money in the drawer just in case, but that was called a till draw. I've never had a sheriff show up to do that, but I thought about it ever since then. I thought, yeah, if that comes true, you could just have nothing in there.
Right.
So I did learn a few things, but I never paid that guy.
Wow.
He didn't have the money to go get an attorney and make me pay. He just thought getting the judgment, walking up and knocking on my door and showing me the piece of paper was going to be good enough, and it wasn't. He came in the very next day and said, I'm here to collect. I said, yeah, I don't have any money. Come back in a month. I'm not. So he didn't have the money to go hire an attorney. It was all bullshit. Like I said, in 20 years, I think I've been in court 3 times. And 2 times I paid. 1 time I paid, 1 time my insurance paid, and that time I did not pay. But that day was one of the worst days for the automotive industry.
That's
ever.
sad.
So you kind of got 3 stories in one there.
Yeah,
but
you did.
Yeah.
You said 3 stories.
that was a true story. It actually happened. I don't remember the guy's name. I just remember vividly the courtroom experience, and I remember the van. The work we did on the van.
All right.
So.
Well, this girl's got to go. I got
Okay.
things to do.
I'm going to Sam's Club
Well,
with
you
you.
better hurry it up, man.
All I got to do is just turn this off now. That's it. We're good.
All right, so we're going to be done?
I think we're done. All right. So say goodnight, Gracie.
Good night, Gracie. It was
Thank you,
great spending the
guys.
day with you.
What's that?
It was great spending the day with you, the morning.
Good morning. And the day's not over. We're just
I
getting
know.
going. Now, once we're done with this, it's a whirlwind now of stuff we got
I
going.
said it's a marathon, not a sprint.
And we didn't even get to any property update in Reno. We'll have to do that next week.
Yeah.
All right. Listen, everybody, thanks for tuning in. Not sure where you're listening in from around the planet, AM, FM, Sirius XM, or perhaps you tuned in on the Armed Service Radio Network. Remember 2 things. Number 1, wherever you go in life, there you are. Number 2, I'll catch you guys on the flip side. I'm out.